Welcome to a brand new season of You Talk. I'm Paige Turner, school counselor at Noble Middle School. Our show is all about the middle school student, testing, bullying, dating, stress, and so much more. We discuss it all. Joining me each month is a dynamic and engaging panel of middle school students ready to discuss the issues and tackle the tough questions. We kick off our show with some Q&A featuring questions on a variety of topics from middle schools throughout the school system that our panel of students are ready to answer. No question is too tough, no topic is too difficult. All right, panelists, here's question number 1. All right, I can't stop saying like. A lot of sentences start with like or I was like and things like that. I don't think I can make a day without saying like at all. Can you please help?
Okay, so I was like, used to like have this problem like, and I think I've like gotten out of it. But what you just have to do is like find different words to express what you want. And it was tough to break that habit, but eventually it'll just become natural not to say like as much because that's very annoying.
I still do that.
You do?
Yeah, I have to find a way to do that by like slowing down when I talk.
Well, that's a good point too. I think sometimes people say it when they don't have anything else to say or they're nervous. I used to say a lot, like when I would pause, instead of just pausing, I'd say And I think, you know, sometimes you might have to make a conscious effort to stop. Is it something that just goes away or do you have to practice doing it? What do you guys think?
Practice.
Practice? Yeah.
But I don't think you should try too hard to do it. I just think you don't need to constantly be as if don't know what you're going to say, but you should know what you're going to say and then say it.
Have you guys ever tried to focus so much on something, like you focus too much on something that it draws more attention to it than not? You know, I don't know. I guess I'm not expressing myself well, but I feel like sometimes if you're too conscious of it and you think about what you're saying too much, then you're going to just continue doing it more and more, you know? I don't know. So your suggestion for this student is to try to practice not using the word like and to maybe think of some other things to say.
And slow down a little.
And slow down. Okay. And make a conscious effort to do those things. Sounds good. All right, next question. Hi, I'm having some trouble with my grades for school. My parents expect a lot out of me. They want me to get straight A's on every one of my report cards, but I don't think I can. I try telling them that I'm doing the best I can, but they think that I can do better. Can you help me out? What do you guys think?
You can always ask a teacher if they can help tutor you, but you can also just try to make it so that your studying affects you. Because I know some people will sing the things that they need to study and it helps, or they'll just write it down and just do it over and over again, or they'll just try to memorize it. They just have to find the certain study technique that will help them.
So find different strategies to maybe help improve their grades. Absolutely.
Never say can't. Like always try your best.
Absolutely. And this person doesn't say what grades they're getting, so I don't know if they're getting B's and they feel like that's the best they can do, you know, but the parents are expecting straight A's, or if they're failing classes. I mean, there's a huge difference between that, you know. But it sounds like, I mean, do you feel like this student should have a conversation with their parents about the stress that they're putting on them, perhaps, at all?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It also depends like what else they're doing besides school, because it's hard to juggle all these different things and expect to make perfect grades. And like a B isn't the end of the world. It's not the best grade, but you have to give yourself realistic expectations.
Right. Absolutely. Do any of you guys ever feel like you're getting stressed from your parents with your grades, or do they pretty much let you, you know, work at your own pace?
My mom, like, if I get a good grade, but I could be better at what I'm doing. Let's say that I got like a B on my test. I could have gotten an A, but because I wasn't as focused on the work, I got a B. So if you try really hard and you're genuinely trying to actually get good grades, then I think that you'll be fine.
So I think it sounds like you guys feel like that it's all about the effort. If you're putting forth the effort and trying different study techniques, if what you've been doing is not working, then usually you should be okay. Yeah. And maybe having a conversation with the parents too. Just to say, look, I'm trying, I'm stressed right now. whatever it is. Okay, let's see, next question. Yesterday I was in lunch. My friend, he's a boy, asked me to have a milk contest. Whoever finishes first wins. I always win, so I said yes. So we did one. Right when we were about to be done, I choked. I spit all the milk out in front of everyone. Everybody was staring at me. I have to go to school on Tuesday. What will I do?
First world problem. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Spit out your milk. Oops. Like, what did you think was going to happen? You're chugging milk. That's more embarrassing than spitting out the milk.
Is what?
Is chugging the milk.
Is chugging the milk.
Is having contest with your friends. Like, you got other problems if you're chugging the milk.
But clearly this person is really embarrassed about what happened. Maybe thinks, well, didn't make the best decision there, but having to face some of the other students. Do you have any suggestions for this person?
Well, it always feels like whenever someone's embarrassed, they're putting on too much than they actually are. Like, most people might forget, but they'll just think that it's embarrassing to them, and they won't get over it. But, of course, in school, a lot of embarrassing things happen. So once one thing's over, the next will come, and everyone will get over it eventually. You just have to see if you can forget about it.
And I think that's a good point, Peyton, because I think we're very self-conscious, and maybe we think everybody in the world is going to be looking at us and laughing at us and talking about it. And, it's middle school. I mean, obviously, students do talk about things, and they do laugh inappropriately. But sometimes it's not as big of a deal as you maybe think it is. And maybe the sooner you get over it, the sooner everybody else will.
Something like that, people won't even remember probably by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and another thing too is, unfortunately, something else will happen, and that's what everybody will be talking about. So, do you guys have any suggestions at all? Have you guys ever been in a situation where you were kind of embarrassed or were worried about what people would say or think?
Yeah, when I was in elementary school, once we were talking at my table, and someone said something really funny, which made another kid laugh, but he was drinking his milk, and so he spit his milk on me. Yeah. I was embarrassed, but not as embarrassed as him, but it was okay because everyone forgot later on.
Yeah. And, elementary school, maybe things, sometimes are not as embarrassing and bad as maybe in middle school. Because I know middle school is just the height of embarrassment and people laughing and talking about stuff. So, okay, well, let's go on to the next question. I broke my glasses again last week during gym, and I haven't told my mom yet. What should I do? So clearly this person has broken their glasses before, and it has happened again, and they're worried about talking to their mom about it. What do you think?
I break my glasses all the time.
Yeah.
I step on them all the time, and finally I just got contacts, and now I don't step on them. But my glasses were like a mangled mess, and you just kind of have to be honest with them and say, I broke my glasses again. Obviously, if you're breaking them so much, then you need to try and find another solution. Because if this is like the 5th time, it's not really good.
Yeah, and it doesn't say how many times they've broken their glasses before, but I think you made a good point in terms of just being honest. I mean, unfortunately, you can't hide broken glasses. I mean, you can literally hide them, but if you need them, your parents are going to see that they're broken.
And that could affect you if you're like at school, you need them. That could stop you from learning or seeing whatever the teacher is teaching.
So it could have a lot more negative consequences, not just being worried about talking to your mom and make it impact your education.
Yeah, it'll escalate.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We think we might have time for one more question. All right, okay, I seriously have no idea why people hate me. I mean, people call me a dramatic diva. I don't know what their problem is. I just enjoy other people's business, and they get mad if I try to get into it. But isn't that what middle school is? What should I tell them so I don't get called a dramatic diva, or just dramatic because being a diva isn't so bad? What are your thoughts?
I don't know.
Well, if it's to the point where you're being called a dramatic diva, then there must be an issue.
Yeah.
And if you realize it yourself that you've been being, you've been being rude, you've been being dramatic, then you probably should do something about it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, people are tired of this person, getting into their business and not being, a good friend and not being very polite. You know, I think there's one thing about being dramatic, but there's also, you know, when you start impacting other people and get into their business, that can be really annoying. So anyway.
You need to find the perfect person to ask, like someone that you're comfortable around and they're comfortable around you and they'll tell you them. But you can't just go up to a random person and be all nosy to them. You have to actually like be polite to them first. And then you're not so much dramatic or a diva, you're just interested in their life or something like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay guys, we're going to have to wrap this up, so I appreciate your suggestions and hopefully the students, you know, get some good suggestions from you guys. Thank you so much for joining us for this section of Q&A. If you're a middle school student with a question you'd like our panel to discuss, there are several ways to submit that question. First, you can drop the question off to your school counselor or social worker. Second, you can email it to nhcstv@ec.rr.com. Or third, you can use good old-fashioned mail by sending your question to NHCS-TV UTalk, 1802 South 15th Street, Wilmington, North Carolina, 28401. Now coming up in our next segment, we are in a midterm election cycle. That means our roadways are already filling up with signs. The TV is full of attack ads and everyone is finding a lot more mail in their mailboxes. One of the things on the ballot for November is the education bond. Up next, we'll have a member of the bond committee explain just what an education bond is and how the passing of the bond will affect middle school students throughout the school system. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
Look at those numbers. Woo! Look at those numbers! Yeah! Yeah! Oh, that's success, baby! Yeah! Can you believe we get paid to do this? It's only Monday. It's only Monday.
Excited about what you do? Or pass it on? As a Junior Achievement volunteer, you can bring your enthusiasm to the classroom and give a few kids a little something extra to get excited about their future. Share a little something of yourself. Be a JA volunteer.
It's springtime in the forest of the black-tailed deer. The young male is feeling playful. It's time for tag. The female flicks her ears. Her way of saying, "Catch me if you can."
Okay, so we drowned the fire,
Yep.
stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
Welcome back to UTalk. In a little over a month, New Hanover County voters will be asked to approve a $160 million bond to fund 14 critical projects throughout New Hanover County schools. The projects include the building of a new elementary school, replacing 2 elementary schools, renovations of several school buildings, and improved safety, security, and technology for all schools. On our show this month, we are thrilled to welcome Jennifer Kelly, a middle school parent and a member of the Education Bond Committee. She joined Emily in the Noble Media Center to discuss just what a school bond is and how it will affect middle school students today and in the future.
Thanks, Ms. Turner. Joining me today is Jennifer Kelly, a member of the Education Bond Committee, and she is here to share with us some facts about the school bond. Welcome, Ms. Kelly.
Thank you.
What is an education bond?
A bond is a way to gain a large amount of money in a cost-effective way to help with large construction.
Why do we need a bond? Doesn't the state and county pay for education?
State and county does pay for education, but it doesn't support the amount of growth we have in New Hanover County, and a $160 million bond is a large amount of money. So we need that to help take care of the growth going forward in New Hanover. New schools, renovations throughout the county.
What are some of the things the bond will pay for?
The bond will pay for a new elementary school. It is replacing 2 elementary schools, and then it's doing additions and revisions to 8 schools. And on top of that, all New Hanover County schools will receive security cameras, a tighter security system, and new technology to get us closer to the 21st century.
Why would anybody vote against the bond?
I think some people maybe aren't educated enough about why we need it, that we have 3,000 children overcrowded within New Hanover County. We're going to continue to grow. We're averaging 500 to 600 new students every year in New Hanover County. So with that, what's the future of the children if we don't have enough space for them to be in? The impact that some people fear is possible tax increase. If so, they're saying maybe 3%, and how that would impact someone is, say, a $200,000 home. Your taxes could increase by $60 a year, which equates to $5 a month. So not very much when you think about what it can do for our children's growth.
If the bond passes, how long before we start seeing things happen?
Immediately. They will start in with new air conditioning units, with roof, with security, with technology. Each school is different and they have a projected timeline, but people will start seeing and feeling it immediately. The new school and the bigger renovations will not be complete till 2018 or 2019.
What happens if the bond doesn't pass?
The bond doesn't pass, that is a very good question. I mean, scary things like redistricting on an annual basis. Children could go through that because right now 26,000 kids were in school last year. That was over 3,000 more than what the schools can hold. So if you continue to add on average 500 to 600 new students to New Hanover County, where are they going to sit? I mean, how are your children going to continue, or how are you as kids going to continue to learn if you end up with that many more kids in your classroom, or you're sitting in a hallway taking English? I mean, it's just, there's only so much room, so it's very important.
Thanks, Miss Kelly.
Thank you.
Back to the studio.
Thank you, Miss Kelly. Now, panel, I have some questions for you about the bond. Part of this bond money would put security cameras throughout the schools. Do you think this is a good idea?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea because some kids, they do things in schools after school when we're not supposed to. But I feel like it'd be a good idea, but it would also be a bad idea because I don't know if students would feel very comfortable being watched all the time, every movement that they make. So.
What do you, anybody else have any suggestions or feelings about that? I mean, how would you feel if there were cameras in all the classrooms and in the hallways? And
I feel like safety-wise, it's a great decision, but I feel like privacy-wise, it just seems a little invasive, but I mean, you're at school, so.
And you kind of have to weigh that, you know,
Yeah.
do you want to feel safe or do you feel like you need to have the utmost privacy?
I also feel like there could be other things put in place, despite going like as far as security cameras, because that seems extensive.
Like in the hallways, that would be good, and then like in the doors, so to see who like comes in and who comes out, to see if like if a person is still there or the person they're looking for, and yeah, and if they're classrooms, I don't think that's a good idea because that would be too much to handle.
I feel it's kind of neutral because there's a lot of people, if there's like anything hanging from the walls, they just have to jump up and like knock it down, which I feel like they might do with the camera. And you might also feel pressured in the classroom to be perfect. And if like someone ever saw it, like they're not supposed to see it, it could turn out really bad because then you could see their locker combinations, or if they had an embarrassing moment, you'd see that over and over again.
So you kind of feel like your every movement and everything would be watched. So, yeah. If the school bond passes, the internet speed in all of the schools and the classrooms will be much faster. How would you guys feel about that?
Great.
That's good.
That needs to
Yes, it has to happen.
very quickly.
Because we watch like Channel 1 News and it buffers a lot, and that takes up like half of our class
Just
time.
waiting for it to get to that point so you can watch it.
I know
The
that like
computers are too slow.
Yeah.
a lot of our teachers, their lesson plans depend on the internet, and when it doesn't work, that kind of throws off our entire class period. So having faster internet is kind of like a need, really.
Yeah, we're using a lot more technology as the years are going by, and if we have faster speed, that would mean that we can get more help, and we could do a lot more things.
Also, the fact that I take the NCVPS online course, so it can be frustrating when the computers don't always load as quickly as they should.
Absolutely. So I think everyone's in agreement that faster internet would be a huge plus for all the schools. And I know part of the on the bond is having 2 gyms, Laney's and Hoggard's gyms, improved or replaced. To get new gyms. Have you guys been to those gyms? And do you think that would be a positive change?
Laney's is pretty big and it looks really safe. There's nothing wrong about it. It could get a little it could be more updated, especially on the walls because they have like their winning championships and it just looks kind of old. But it's pretty big, it looks safe enough, and the bleachers are still good. Nothing really stands out to be harmful.
And what about, I know that a couple of you went to Blair for elementary school, and on the agenda, if the bond passes, is to completely, you know, actually completely replace Blair and College Park elementary schools. How do you guys feel about that?
Blair has no gym,
Yeah.
and we had to go outside for gym even in the winter, and it's pretty terrible. And then there's no hallways either. There's like one, but that's only in like the office.
Yeah, I think that's bad. Like, they really need to make it an indoor school because anybody could just come and just like wander the sidewalk, I guess. Yeah,
Because the classroom doors are facing outside.
Their AC unit is also really bad because at one point in 4th grade when Johnny and I were there, they had to have their own individual AC units because it just didn't work, and it still had problems, and it still does now.
Well, it sounds like if the bond passes, that there's a lot of improvements that are going to happen, you know, within the schools. And I know Noble's on the agenda for some renovations. So, you know, I think it's beneficial for every student in New Hanover County for sure. Voters will consider the $160 million bond referendum on the November 2014 ballot. There are a total of 14 projects included in the bond proposal. For more information about the education bond, visit the bond website at www.nhcs.net and click on the bright red apple. Now don't go away, we'll be right back.
Okay, this is where you go in, got it? Always stay to the right, got it? Listen up, because this is important. School breakfast is a must.
Don't forget your OJ.
Got it?
Research shows kids who eat school breakfast perform better in the classroom.
Okay, your classroom is right here. There you know. I got it.
Breakfast, the best start to their day.
Kids will spend 8 minutes decorating their little brother.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
So, Malcolm, you do know that energy savers last 6 times longer than ordinary light bulbs.
This isn't my room. It's Baron Davis's.
Baron Davis, the basketball player? This is his room?
Yep.
Interesting, because we have Baron Davis right here. Baron, do you live here?
No.
I don't mean that, Baron Davis.
Millions of kids are using their energy wisely. What's your excuse?
Welcome back to UTalk. We thought we'd close our show talking just a little about students' view of campaigning and elections. Okay, at Noble Middle School, we stopped having student body elections because the students felt that it was just a popularity contest. Do you think adult elections are the same way? You think the adult campaigns and like for, you know, government offices, do you feel like it's a popularity contest too?
No, not really. I think it's more of like, I think adults are better at discerning the difference between, this doesn't make sense, between like popularity and what the person is actually going to do. Whereas kids, they're just kind of like, that's my friend, president.
So you guys feel like that adults make decisions based on the, you know, the topics or the issues, and not so much as, or what my friend is, who my friend is voting for, and things like that.
Because the actual election itself is really serious, and we're actually selecting who's gonna like be in charge of us, be in charge of our taxes, and pass laws. And in student council, it's just a small thing. It's like, you get to make a poster, hooray.
I don't think like real elections are a popularity contest, but they are biased because you might, if you don't really care about elections, you can just go and you just pick the one that has the same political party as you are in. Or since there is a lot of like ads on TV or commercials where they're saying negative things about people, it is biased because you don't know if that's really true, or there could have been something that the other person did and they're just blaming it on someone else. It's not a popularity contest, but it is just biased and untrue and sometimes unfair.
And there is a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of campaigning and kind of, you know, going to parties and you know, trying to get money and, you know, raise money and things like that that could potentially be more of a popularity contest. But hopefully you guys are right and it's more about the issues and not about popularity. So. Anyway, well, that wraps up our program this month. On behalf of the entire UTalk panel, thanks for watching. We hope you'll submit questions to our show and tune in again next month for an all-new season of UTalk.